The way you behave, my man, is stopping you from getting your woman to come back. The way you carry yourself is a direct reflection of how much of a chance you have at getting her back. In this video, I'm going to show you 6 things you must do if you want another shot at the relationship. Listen to her needs, clarify your mistakes, get coaching or therapy, apply the lessons. Don't become a wuss. Now, let's get it. First things first, listen to her needs. Somewhere along the line, you may have heard what she said, but you weren't listening intently. Think about your own life. When you're talking to someone in any other relationship that's not romantic, work, friendship, any type of relationship, you want to be heard. You want to know that what you said is understood. So let's come back to the relationship with your ex. She wants to know that she's understood. 65% of marriages end in divorce because of communication. The second biggest reason, at 43%, is an inability to resolve issues. Do you know what those 2 stats have in common? Lack of the ability or the will to listen. Communication is more about listening and clarification than it is talking. You can share your point, but if you truly understand what she wants and needs, it's much easier to get your point across. If you clearly understand her needs, my man, you're on the right path. You want to clarify your mistakes. Let's go even deeper. Clarify your mistakes. Clarify your understanding of her needs. Clarify the depth of the challenges in your relationship. Bruh, clarify, clarify, clarify. My favorite method of clarification is to repeat back what I hear someone saying to me. If my wife says something and I'm not fully understanding, or I realize that I think I understand, but we're definitely speaking on different frequencies, I need to repeat back what she said and explain what I think that means. I need to listen for that's right or correct. I don't need to assume I know what she's trying to say if I'm unsure, or if I can tell we're not talking to each other, but we're talking at each other. The vast majority of relationships that deal with communication issues are really about understanding and clarity for those who are trying to work through the issue. If you see life through a different lens than she does, and breaking news, you do, often you're going to need clarity. She needs clarity sometimes as well. When you understand her, it's easier to be clear in what you want and need. If you want her back, pave her path with clarity and she'll love you for it. You may not want to do it, but do it anyway. Get coaching or therapy. Man, I don't need anyone to help me. I got this. I've heard a couple cats tell me, why would I go to therapy? To hear her tell the therapist what I already told her and then have that piss me off because she listened to the therapist instead of me? Therapy and coaching are scientific techniques, bruh. Do you know why she might listen to the therapist or coach and not listen to you? Because there's a skill with years of work, training, knowledge, insight, wisdom, and intuition that they're paid for that you don't have. If you want her back, here's another reason why therapy will help. It shows that you care. If you're willing to be vulnerable with someone to work through your issues with your ex, more often than not, she's going to appreciate your effort as long as you're genuine. If you lean into therapy or coaching, it's going to show your leadership and the fact you're intentional about being a couple again. My man, do it anyway. Now it's time to apply and execute the lessons. If you did the relationship one way before and it didn't work, you're going to have to do things differently to make it work. Why go back and do the same thing over again and lose what you worked so hard to regain? You wouldn't want to do that. So do this. Apply what you've learned. If you learn her love language is receiving gifts and you're miserly and frugal, my man, it's time to apply the change and execute. Give her gifts consistently on birthdays and on any day that ends in Y. Also, keep this in mind. What was working before, don't stop doing those things. Now it's time to apply the lessons to what needed to be changed or improved. Be diligent about it. Make it a habit. Initiate the change. The more you know and apply what you know, the better the outcome will be. Okay, so these last two are more about how you're going to move forward. So let's start with don't be a wuss. It's natural for many of us to want to become the softer, more accommodating version of ourselves to win our woman back. Here's the problem. She didn't start out with the softer version of you. Sure, you should be kind, thoughtful, and compassionate. But that doesn't mean you can't be an assertive, driven leader that she's going to be drawn to. Remember this, masculinity is sexy to a woman. It's attractive in general. You don't have to fall on the sword to get her to come back. You want to be open and honest about changes you need to make, and she may need to make some as well. Even when you make the moves to get her back, you want to be decisive and self-assured, because no matter how much you may have made her upset, if she wants to come back, she still wants those confident traits that you have to offer. Finally, we can't leave this one out. Leave your ego out of this. Being selfish and egotistical will keep you immersed in drama, chaos, and it'll keep you single. I've asked men, what would it look like to listen to her needs? Sometimes I get the response, man, she needs to listen to my needs. I mentioned in the therapy piece earlier that guys sometimes are reluctant to go to therapy because they think it may actually work. They feel this way because it will bruise their ego if someone can get through to their woman besides them. Man, listen, leave all the BS out of trying to work it out and leave it out of the relationship, period. If your egotism was around for the first pass at this relationship, I can almost certainly guarantee it lended itself to the downfall the first go round. The game changer is that the opposite of egotism is what really makes relationships successful. Humility, compassion, altruism. If you can master these traits, your ego will disappear and take care of itself. Listen, there's not a man on earth that has had a relationship that hasn't experienced some level of wishing he could have done something differently in a past relationship. Sometimes it's good to move on. It's for the best. It didn't work for a reason. Real talk. Other times our timing was a bit off or our signals were crossed. You know, if you get a second chance to make a first impression, you can crush it this time. I'm pulling for you, bro. When you follow these steps and she comes back, as I know she will, you can hit me up in the comments and tell me how much humility, compassion, altruism, and their distant cousin charisma showed up in the clutch as your superpower.